you want to finish a bow, our tool handle, 90-degree angles, razor sharp.
Oh my.
I don't know if you can see the little curly cues of wood coming off. Okay? These work beautifully, and they hold an edge like crazy too. All right, so there's a good tool for finishing a bow right there, or a tool handle. Just, I'll use flakes for about 80 to 90% of the work in the villages, done with simple flake tools. Not these finely crafted bifacial tools for butchering, all right, general or fighting, okay, but simple flakes. I use them, I discard them. Or I'll whack out a really clunky tool to butcher with and then discard it. I've only taken several minutes to make it, so what have I lost? Well, one of these, I don't want to break this. That takes about, the whole knife, the blade alone will take about 2 hours, and the handle will take another couple of hours to set the blade and make the handle, which is red cedar for this handle, with Arkansas novaculite flint for the blade, which if you hold it up to the sky is translucent, which is quite nice.
Pretty cool.
In a rawhide sheath made from the four-leg rawhide from the white-tailed deer. Okay? Protects that glass knife very nicely. Or I can make a sheath of, I'll do the pressure flaking for you, just to show you just how to do it. Because I have an entire array of tools here, pressure flakers. They're levers. They're tipped with copper and antler, as they were in prehistoric times, thousands of years ago. Not just my ancestors, but yours as well. Hammerstones, antler batons, hardwood batons for coarser, grainier flints. And then to finish your tools, an array of long to short antler and copper tipped pressure flakers for pressing the flakes off and finishing the tool, finish the thinning and the shaping and the sharpening and the notching of the tool. I can't strike it anymore. When it gets that thin, what are the chances of breaking glass that thin? By striking it. Now I can get down to that right there by striking flakes off. After that, I better stop striking it. Okay? And I will move then to what is called pressure flaking. Instead of percussion flaking, like beating a drum, percussion flaking, I go to pressure flaking to finish the tools. How is that done? Well, I'll just take a blank here and I'll show you. Okay, I can do it with that and not harm the tool a bit. I'm going to grind the edge quickly to strengthen it. And a braiding stone, quartzite, iron-bearing stones, anything coarse and grainy, or a broken English grindstone. And we waste nothing. So to finish the tool, it would be the same principle as striking. I have to create a platform, although it's going to be much thinner, and it's still got to be beveled, just like with the striking, only now I'm going to press the flakes off. So I get much more control, not as much shock being delivered to the piece, so there's far less chance of breaking it, okay? And your ancestors and mine knew this. Now I'm going to take a pad of leather, anybody want a piece of North Carolina rhyolite? There we go. Oh, Mom?
Oh,
okay.
That way.
You wrap that in a piece until you can just on a brick or sidewalk,
Right.
and that'll dull the edge immediately.
Okay.
But that's rhyolite flint from central North Carolina.
Take that in your phone. Rhyolite flint.
Okay. Rhyolite.
He's filming, so he's got it.
Rhyolite. All right, now. Okay, that'll work.
So what tool
So
are
what
we
I would
actually
do-
trying to make?
I'm sorry?
What tool are you actually trying to make when you with this?
I make projectile points, knife blades, and drills
Okay.
mostly. Scrapers. Because they're what I get the most use out of.
Okay.
I'm not going to get a lot of use out of a lance. Okay.
And this,
Unless it's back in the Ice Age.
right.
When I have slower moving animals, I can run into a bog or a marsh or whatever and then thrust. With 14-foot lances, by the way. I ain't getting 6 feet away from that sucker. Master, 14 feet's close enough. All right. And in a marsh, he's already bogged down in a marsh, all right? That's where we go to get him. Run him into a marsh. All right. So now I've just lightly ground the edge. I've ground the platform on the edge. It's the right angle. I have enough contour I can get to the center. I need to take that out anyhow. So I can do it by striking or by pressure. Pressure is going to give me smaller flakes, and archaeologists have found actually thousands of flakes, flint flakes inside this fort. On the same living floor as the English inhabited in 1607. Native people were inside this fort making stone tools. They're making shell beads. They're making pottery inside this fort. Not all of them, because every village and every tribe has the right to make its own decisions as to who it will trade with, who it will be friendly with, and who it won't. Yes, even in the same tribe, each village has the right to make their own decisions. And no one will put you down for it if you're different. All right? It's one reason Native people had a hard time coming together to fight the colonials, right? Because each village can make its own decisions as to whether it will fight, not fight, who it will ally with, and tear your nation apart. And it did. So anyhow, here I have what's called a pressure flaker. It is simply hammered copper, cold hammered, because copper is soft metal, all right? Cold hammered into a spike, and then set in a groove in the lever. In this case, I believe this is hickory. Can't remember, actually. Good hardwood. And then wrapped with buckskin lacing, okay, to hold it firmly in there. I can then hammer this down into a diamond point and abrade it, and I have a wonderful flaking tool. It's not gonna take that long to make. All right, now, how am I going to flake? Well, I'm not going to use my arms. My arms aren't that strong. All right, nobody's arms are that strong. I don't care if you're a weightlifter or not. Your legs are 10 times stronger than your arms. And by golly, we have a natural vice here. Yes? Boy, can you put the squeeze on, right? Okay. Ancient people who worked stone knew this. Why do I say that? Because if we can think about it today, and it works, they already thought about it thousands of years ago. Our ancestors did. They were extremely intelligent, inventive, innovative people all around the world. Maybe that's a good time to bring out the word race. Another 4-letter word in the English language we really don't need. Okay? Could you please use culture instead? Cultures, not races. Cultures. Because culture is determined by its environment around the world. The climate, the land, the water. Depending on where that is, Well, that's going to determine how you live your life. It's going to determine what you eat. It's going to determine your medicines available. It's going to determine how hot or cold it is. What you build your houses with, how you build your houses to best suit that environment. It's also going to determine how light or dark your skin is. Well, gee. Okay. We're all human beings. We just live in different environments, and different cultures develop. And before the 20th century, if you traveled 50 to 75 miles from your birthplace during your life, you had traveled far indeed. And so cultures were isolated from one another. More isolated. And the further back in time you go, the more isolated they are, right? Among the Powhatan, just a couple of rivers away, you could have a tribe that spoke the same base language, but a totally different dialect of that language. In other words, certain words and phrases would be slightly different. And that was the case in the Powhatan chiefdom and all other chiefdoms. I could go on and on and on. Please use culture instead of races, if you would. Culture to me means that you're very unique. You live in a certain region of the world and a certain climate. You're a certain color based on the fact that you grew up in that climate. You're either short and squat or you're tall and thin because you grew up in that environment, that particular environment, which determines your body shape. It's all so stupid that we can't get along on this planet for some odd reason, when we're all human beings. Can we mate with one another? That means we're the same species. It means we're all human beings, Homo sapiens, or sapiens, if you will. Okay, let's look at the pressure flaker. My legs are much stronger than my arms. I have a natural, vice here, which gives me incredible strength as opposed to pushing flakes off, right? I don't push flakes off, I'll kill myself. My arms will fall off in an hour. Now, I've already ground or made that platform by striking flakes and getting the right angle and grinding to strengthen. And now I'm going to use a smaller pad of leather to protect my hand from the tip of the flaker when I press. Get up here, a log in the village. He's just curious. By the way, never swat at them. If a bee lands on you, I don't care how big it is, don't go striking it, swatting at it. Because what you'll do is you'll make it angry or you'll make it feel threatened, and then it will use its defense. And you know what that is, right? Bang, you get stung. So just let them call around. They're just curious. They'll only stay there a few seconds and then they'll just fly away. They will. Don't be afraid. Get down here in this vise. Place the tip of the flaker against the area you want to press the flake off and adjust the angle so you get a short, medium, or long flake predictably. We'll get one here in a minute. I'm working from thinner. There goes one there. Hear that popping sound?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be one flake right after another. Bang, there it goes. I'll show you the series of flakes here in a minute. Clean that up.